She slapped my daughter in front of everyone at a church fundraiser, said she was acting up and asking for it. My 9-year-old froze, holding the tray of cupcakes she decorated herself. People gasped, my hand shook. And when I stepped between them, my mother looked me dead in the eye and said, maybe now she'll learn respect. 3 days earlier, I almost didn't go. The weather was already turning, icy wind pushing in off the Missouri River, and my daughter Aria had a cough. But Mom kept pushing. It's important for the kids. It's for charity, she'd said. Aria was excited. She made glittery flyers for the bake sale and spent Saturday frosting mini lemon cakes while humming Taylor Swift. My son Milo, quiet as always, helped pack everything into boxes. We showed up early to the community hall. The lights buzzed overhead, and folding tables were already stacked with sugar cookies and weak coffee. Mom was front and center, in a floral blouse and her fake smile, pretending we were still a family. She barely acknowledged me, just air-kissed my cheek, scanned the kids up and down, and said, try not to let Aria run around like last year. I ignored it. I'd gotten good at that. By 10 a.m., the fundraiser was in full swing. Aria was doing great, offering cupcakes, thanking people, until she dropped one, just one, on the floor. Then everything slowed down. My mother stormed over. Her heels clicked like a judge approaching the bench. She grabbed Aria by the wrist and hissed, you're embarrassing yourself. When Aria flinched, I stepped forward. And that's when it happened. The slap wasn't loud, but the silence after was deafening. Someone dropped a coffee cup. Aria's lip trembled. She looked at me like I was supposed to fix it. I opened my mouth, but no words came. Mom crossed her arms. You let her act like a little brat, and now she's shocked someone called her out. I told the kids we were leaving. Mom said, loud enough for the entire church hall to hear, go ahead and run, just like your father did. Pathetic. We drove home in silence. Aria stared out the window, blinking fast. Milo didn't say a word. I gripped the steering wheel so tight my knuckles ached. When we got back, Aria finally asked, did I do something bad? I told her no. I told her she was perfect, but she didn't believe me. I could see it in her eyes. That night I couldn't sleep, not just because of what happened, but because I kept thinking this wasn't new. It was just louder. The next morning, I got a message from my cousin Trina. Why'd you delete Grandma's name off the house paperwork? What? I didn't respond. I hadn't touched anything. I didn't even know she was still listed on anything since the refinance last year. Then my aunt called. You caused a lot of pain yesterday. Maybe cool off before you do something you'll regret. What the hell is happening? I opened my laptop and checked the county records. There it was, a document filed 2 days before the fundraiser. A deed amendment, my name, my digital signature. Grandma's name removed from joint tenancy. Except I didn't file anything. I sure as hell didn't sign it. My stomach dropped. I downloaded the document. Checked the metadata. The IP address matched one I'd seen before from work, my mother's work. She still had access to the legal database. She'd worked at the firm for 20 years before she retired. Still friends with the notary. 2. That's when the screaming started. In my own head, she forged my signature, filed a fake amendment, made it look like I was cutting Grandma out of the house we all grew up in just days after slapping my kid in public. I stared at the screen, heart pounding, hands trembling. Not from fear, from rage. I wasn't going to scream. I wasn't going to cry. I was going to burn her world down. I didn't sleep that night. I couldn't. The next morning, I dropped the kids off at school, drove straight to the county clerk's office, and asked to see the original deed amendment. They printed it out without question. My name was right. There, my digital signature. My fake digital signature. But this version had something new, an attached notarization code. I asked the clerk who notarized it. He squinted. Verilyle. Retired. Lives out near Greenwood. I knew the name. My mother's bridge partner. So it was all real. All coordinated. Back in the car. I sat for 10 full minutes with the engine running and the heat blasting, but I didn't feel warm. Just tight. The kind of tight that lives in your throat. The kind that says, they tried to ruin you. On purpose. Then I started planning. First stop, my bank. I asked them to flag all recent transactions tied to my mortgage account and freeze any online access. Second stop, a lawyer. He wasn't cheap, but after I showed him the documents, the IP metadata, and the notary's name, his eyebrows lifted halfway up his forehead. This is felony level forgery, he said. You could press charges. I didn't say yes. I didn't say no. I just asked him to help me file a fraud complaint and reverse the title change. He got to work. That night, Milo asked if we were still going to the Christmas lights show on Friday. Arya looked up from her cocoa. Is Grandma going to be there? I said, not a chance. Then my phone buzzed. It was Mom. Text message. I hope you've calmed down. We should talk before you do something irreversible. Irreversible. She thought I was bluffing. I didn't reply. The next day, I went back to work and tried to pretend. Everything was normal, but it wasn't. Not anymore. I couldn't focus, couldn't sit still. Every time I opened my inbox, I half expected another bomb to drop. Then it did. My HR manager called me into her office. Hey, so this is awkward. We received a complaint through the company portal, an anonymous tip about your behavior outside of work. Something about your mental state, your instability. I blinked. What? She leaned in. Look, I had two. File the form, but off the record, it sounds personal. Vindictive. I nodded slowly. My jaw tightened. Of course. She was trying to get me fired now. When I got home, I checked my personal email. Buried in my spam folder was a message sent to my boss's general contact form claiming I'd yelled at a coworker, that I was drinking on the job, that my children were neglected. It was written in shaky, overly polite language. I knew that tone. She always masked cruelty and formality. And then, the cherry on top. That Friday, a letter arrived from a probate office, addressed to me and my late grandmother. Apparently, there had been a request filed to remove me as co-trustee on Grandma's legacy fund on the basis of erratic financial behavior. My mouth went dry. There was only one person who had access to that trust besides me. Mom. She was trying to cut me off from the one thing I had left from Grandma. The thing Grandma entrusted me with when she passed. Not out of grief. Not out of hurt. Out of power. That was the moment something broke. Not in me. For me. Because suddenly I stopped feeling like a victim and started seeing her like a blueprint. Calculated. Cruel. Strategic. And if she wanted war, fine, I'd give her one. But I wouldn't do it her way with tears and begging and half-hearted. Family meetings, I'd do it clean. Like surgery. First, I made a burner email. Sent a polite inquiry to Betrayal, the notary who signed the forged deed. 2 days later, she responded. Friendly. Too friendly. Oh, of course, I notarized that. Your mother was just so helpful. Brought all the paperwork, even the ID copies. I asked if she had a copy of the ID she used. She did. She attached it. It was a scanned copy of my old driver's license. The one I lost in 2020. I sat there, staring at it. So she kept it all these years and used it to impersonate me. I forwarded it all to my lawyer. Then I picked up the phone and called the Department of Real Estate Fraud. Left a message. Then I called Trina. You want to know why Grandma's name got removed from the house? Ask your aunt. Then I hung up. I didn't explain. I didn't defend, because the truth was about to come out anyway. And this time, I wasn't going to save anyone from it. Trina texted me that night. What do you mean, ask my aunt? What's going on? I didn't answer. I wanted her to squirm a little first. Let it marinate. By morning, the silence had done its job. She called. Twice. I let it go to voicemail. Then she texted again. Just heard from Aunt Lydia. She said your mom may have overstepped. Overstepped. She forged a deed. She stole a trust. She slapped my child. That's not overstepping. That's demolition. Controlled. Precision cut. And now she was. Surprised there was fire under the smoke. I went to work that Monday wearing my sharpest suit. The kind I save for interviews and funerals. My coworkers noticed. Someone's looking serious, they joked. Damn right, I was serious. I was loading the cannon. I met with my lawyer again. We drafted a statement, no fluff. Just facts. Then we sent it to the probate office, the clerk's department, and yes, even to Betrayal. We attached copies of the forged documents, the falsified ID, the IP trace, and a notarized affidavit stating I was pursuing civil fraud action. 2 hours later, Vera called me in a panic. I didn't know. I thought she had. Your permission. Please, don't press charges. Your mom said. I hung up mid-sentence. My phone didn't stop ringing for days. Trina again. My aunt. And then, finally, the queen herself. Mom. Her message. You're making a huge mistake. Family doesn't take each other to court. Oh no? But family can steal from each other, humiliate each other, tear each other down like wolves, and then cry about loyalty when someone bites back. Save it. The next day, Milo came home from school with a flyer in his backpack. Winter showcase cookies with grandparents. Cute, except Arya looked at it and said, "Can we skip it?" I said, "Of course." She said, "Because I don't have grandparents anymore." I didn't answer. But inside, I was boiling. They took that from her. Not me. Them. Then came the final straw. My ex. Yeah, let's call him Blaine the Flake. Showed up at my house with his smug little goatee and a duffel bag full of gifts for the kids. He hadn't seen them in over a year. Guess who called him? Guess who told him I was spiraling and alienating the children from their family? I could smell her on him. He tried to act chill. Said maybe I should take a break and let the kids reconnect with people who love them. Oh, really? I handed him the fraud report. Tell me again how I'm the unstable one. His face went pale. He left without saying another word. 1 week later, I did something I'd been holding back. I wrote a single savage public email. CC'd every relative who ever smiled at me with one hand and stabbed me with the other. I laid it all out. The forgery, the ID theft, the fraudulent notary, the HR sabotage, the manipulation of my ex, the attempt to remove me from Grandma's trust. I ended it with this: if you still believe she's the victim, ask yourself why the police are calling next. Then I hit send. The fallout was nuclear. My aunt went radio silent. Trina replied with one sentence: "I didn't know. I'm sorry." Too little. Way too late. Uncle Henry? He tried to defend her until the screenshots started circulating. He stopped replying after that. But my mother? Oh, she went full soap opera. She posted a Facebook status. Because of course she did. Heartbroken by betrayal. Families should be sacred, especially during the holidays. With a black and white photo of me as a baby. Baby. Like that would make people forget. She'd slap my daughter in a church. The comments rolled in. "You're so strong. Sending love." Kids don't appreciate sacrifice these days. Sacrifice? Lady, you committed a federal crime. I didn't reply publicly. I didn't need to. Because 2 days later, she got served. At 6:37 p.m. on her porch, holding a casserole. The process server texted me a photo. She was barefoot. Her mascara was smeared. The casserole spilled on the porch tiles. Merry damn Christmas. After she got served, everything went quiet. No Facebook posts. No manipulative text. No concerned voicemails dripping in fake just for 3 full days. Then, like a horror movie villain limping back for one final scare, she emailed me a PDF. Custody clarification. Let's be rational. Inside was a draft and octo of a petition for shared custodial authority. She claimed she was filing it to protect the children from emotional instability and ensure they had access to extended family support. I laughed so hard I choked on my tea. She wanted joint custody of my kids? The same woman who tried to abduct my daughter from school, who slapped her at a bake sale? The same woman who forged a deed and triggered a workplace investigation against me. Was she out of her damn mind? I called my lawyer. He nearly dropped the phone. "Please forward that," he said. "I want to frame it, but the wild part." She actually filed it. She took it to county court, dressed in her Sunday best, and filed for grandparental access rights. Claimed I was emotionally unfit and that the kids had become isolated from their roots. My kids? Isolated? Milo had just made the honor roll. Arya was writing songs on her ukulele and FaceTiming with her best friend from across the street. They were thriving, safe, laughing again. Sleeping through the night, I took screenshots of everything: photos, grades, artwork, even the security footage from my front porch the night she tried to guilt her way back into our lives. Then I sent them to the court. That week, I got another knock on the door. Different this time, slower, hesitant. I opened it and found Trina standing there, hugging her purse like it was armor. "I didn't know how bad it was," she said. She lied to us? No apology. Just that. I didn't invite her in. She stood on the porch, shifting her weight. Then she pulled out her phone. "She's blaming you. Said you're the reason the IRS flagged her accounts. Said you reported her." I didn't flinch. Because I did. Well, not exactly me. But someone using a burner tax tip hotline might have submitted a very detailed complaint about a retired notary who'd been moonlighting under the table and possibly falsifying legal documents. I wasn't stupid. I knew she'd get audited. And now she was scrambling because her house was tied up in her own forged paperwork. And she just triggered a full-blown paper trail review. Meanwhile, Arya asked me why Grandma never called anymore. I told her the truth, because sometimes people love control more than they love their family. She blinked at me, thought for a second, then said, okay, just like that. No tears. Just quiet understanding. Kids are smarter than we give them credit for. That Friday, I got a call from the district attorney's office. The woman on the line was sharp, professional. She said, "We've received your fraud packet. The notary has confirmed she was misled. We're pursuing preliminary charges." I stared out the window. What happens next? I asked. We'll subpoena phone records, emails, witness statements. If this goes to court, she could be looking at felony counts. I thanked her. Hung up. Then I sat on the floor. Not from exhaustion. From release. Because for the first time in years, I wasn't reacting. I wasn't recovering. I was winning. That night, I took the kids out for pancakes. Again. Same diner. Same corner booth. Same waitress who always gave Arya extra whipped cream. Milo whispered, "This feels like before." I asked, "Before what?" He said, "Before things got bad." I nodded. It's going to stay good now. And I meant it, because while my mother was busy trying to claw her way back into control, I've been quietly cutting her off at every root. Her reputation, shredded. Her finances, under audit. Her custody case, already dead on arrival. And her family walking away. One by one, even Aunt Lydia called me to say she didn't want to be dragged into legal drama. I told her it was too late. You picked your side when you stayed silent. Click. By mid-January, the court date was set. Her custody petition was being reviewed briefly before being dismissed with prejudice. She had no standing, no case, and no clue how bad it was about to get. Then came the email from Blaine the Flake. Subject line, "I think we need to talk." Delete. No reply. No more space for cowards who only show up when the vultures are circling. My mother tried to weaponize the system against me. And now the system was turning on her. One slow legal wheel at a time. I thought I had her cornered. Every exit blocked. Every lie unraveling. Until Uncle Nate called me. I almost didn't answer. He'd been quiet for months. Switzerland. Neutral. Always sipping bourbon and staying out of family drama like it was beneath him. But I picked up. Out of curiosity. Out of boredom. He said, "I think you should come over." I laughed. "For what? A roast and a guilt trip?" He didn't flinch. "It's about your father. And something your mother did. Years ago. That stopped me cold. My dad passed away in 2019. Heart failure. Sudden. Brutal. The man was calm, kind, always patient. Never raised his voice, even when Mom turned family dinners into landmines. He was the only one I trusted. And then he was just gone. So when Nate mentioned Dad, I went. His place was the same as always, smelled like cigar ash and lemon cleaner. He poured 2 glasses of something amber and didn't offer a hug. Instead, he slid a manila folder across the coffee table. I stared at it. "What is this?" "Read it," he said. Inside were 3 documents. The first, a revised life insurance policy from 2018. My dad's name. His signature. Beneficiary? Not my mother. Me. The second, a handwritten note addressed to me. "If you're reading this," then she finally crossed the line. "I wanted you to have this. Keep it safe." It was dated 2 weeks before he died. The third, a bank transfer authorization never filed, giving me power over an emergency account he'd opened under a trust name I'd never heard of. $86,000. Just sitting there. My hands were shaking. "Why are you giving me this now?" I asked. Nate took a slow sip. "Because she came to me last week. Wanted me to help her move that account. Said you were acting dangerous and might try to steal from her. Told me you didn't deserve it. That you were ungrateful." I blinked. "Wait, she KNEW about the account?" He nodded. "She knew. She just didn't know you were the beneficiary. Your dad never told her." I stared at the folder. A damn hidden account. A note from my father. Buried under 4 years of gaslighting and staged Sunday brunches. And she tried to steal that too. It was like a floodgate open in my brain. Suddenly, I was remembering things I'd buried. Little comments. Times she handled the bills. The day after the funeral, when she wouldn't let me clean out his office, said it was too soon, that she'd do it herself. How had I missed this? I closed the folder. What do I have to do? I asked Dot, and Nate smirked. Claim it, and let her watch it disappear. That night, I didn't sleep. I just sat with the folder on the table, the letter from my dad in my lap. His voice came back to me clear as day. Take care of your kids. Keep your compass. That account? It wasn't just money, Dot, it was proof. Proof he knew who she was. Proof he didn't trust her either, Dot. And now, she was going to watch it all slip away. But I wasn't. Done. Because the next morning, I called the Attorney General's office. Not mine, hers. The one where she used to work. Where she still had friends. I filed a formal ethics complaint. Why? Because the notary she used was listed as a volunteer legal consultant for the same firm. I connected the dots. Conflict of interest. Fraud. Identity theft. The bomb was primed, Dot, and then I dropped the match. I sent her a copy of the folder. Every document. Every photo. The policy. The trust. The note from Dad. All of it. Her response came 2 hours later. Just one line. You think you're better than everyone, don't you? I didn't answer, but if I had, I would have said this cologne. No, Dot, I just stopped pretending I was worse. The court day came fast, Dot. It was gray, cold, the kind of December morning that smells like regret. I wore black, no jewelry, no makeup. Just wore, Dot. She showed up late, of course, with her pearls and her drama, walking like she owned the building, smiling at the bailiff, touching the Bible with her left hand like it meant something. The courtroom was nearly empty. Just me, my lawyer, and her. When they read the summary of charges: fraud, identity theft, and attempted custodial interference, she kept that smug tilt to her head like none of this was real, Dot, until they pulled up the IP logs, the email headers, notarized documents with forged dates, until the judge asked, why would your notary confirm the transaction when the other party, your daughter, was unaware it even occurred? She didn't have an answer. She stuttered. And for the first time in my life, I saw it, Dot. Fear, Dot. Not anger, not arrogance. Just plain, wrinkled, aging fear. They didn't send her that day. It was a civil hearing. Not criminal yet, but they did hand down a formal judgment. Custodial access petition is dismissed. All legal requests for contact denied. Court finds evidence of fraud. Recommends criminal referral. Her mouth dropped. Mine didn't. Because this wasn't the climax, Dot. It was just cleanup. 3 days later, the real bomb landed, Dot. An anonymous tip reached the ethics board of her old legal firm. Attached, screenshots, the fake notary log, the forged deed, a list of clients she'd helped years ago while technically retired. Within 72 hours, the board released a statement. Due to allegations of legal misconduct and misuse of credentials, we are initiating a full review of all documents signed under Ms. Haugen's notary status during the past 5 years. I didn't write it, but I sure as hell forwarded it. I sent it to her pastor, her bridge club, her Facebook church group, every smug little circle where she painted herself as the faithful matriarch betrayed by a bitter daughter. They all saw it. I didn't get responses. I didn't need them. Silence is loud when shame starts screaming in someone's place, Dot. By Christmas Eve, Trina messaged me. She's not coming to service this year. Said she's sick. Sick? No, she was. Dying of exposure. Every mask melting under daylight, Dot. And then, just when I thought I buried it all, a package showed up, Dot. No return address. Just my name in her handwriting. I opened it on the porch. Standing over the garbage can, Dot. Inside was a single photo album. One she made when I was 15. Birthday photos. A camping trip. Me and Dad roasting marshmallows. Her in the corner of the frame, arms crossed. There was a note tucked between the pages. If this is the last thing I send you, I want you to remember you were always mine. Even if you hate me now. Even if you never understand. Understand? Understand what? That. She destroyed my job. Tried to take my kids. Stole from her own mother. I lit a match. Watched the corner of that photo curl and blacken. The faces melted first. Then the campsite. Then the letter. And when it was done, I dumped the ashes in the snow. That was the real ending. Not the court hearing. Not the audit. Not even the custody case. This final act of release. I walked back inside. Arya was painting. Milo was building a robot from scrap wire and duct tape. Can we open a present early? Arya asked. I smiled. One each. We sat by the fireplace. No tree, just lights. Peace. And then it happened. Milo looked up and asked, "Do you miss Grandma?" I didn't even hesitate. No, not because I was bitter, not because I was angry. Because I was free. Because you don't mourn what you've escaped. You celebrate it. She built a house of lies. I lit the match. So no, this wasn't a reconciliation. This was the funeral. She's still alive, sure, but I buried her anyway. That's the end of today's story. Did things turn out the way you thought, or were there some surprises along the way? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear what you think. If you enjoyed this journey, don't forget to hit the like button. And if you haven't joined the community yet, now's the perfect time. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you're always the first to catch new stories. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next adventure.